T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff. Liftoff. 30 minutes after the hour.
Hello, I'm Stephen Barr.
Hi everyone, I'm Rahul Subramaniam, and we have a very special guest on the show today. Do you want to introduce yourself, ChatGPT?
Hello. It's great to be here with you both.
We're so glad you're here. I think you might be brand new to the scene, but thank you for taking your time out of your schedule to be here with us.
I'm excited to join the conversation and share insights about AI and the future of work.
Well,
Awesome.
It has been an incredible couple of days. So our biggest news is the launch of GPT 4.0. We've got GPT 4.0 as our special guest. We're going to do a couple of things for this show. We've got AWS news. There's been a couple of AWS news announcements that we really wanted to cover. Then we are going to jump into our interview with Marcos Ortiz. We'll talk a bit more about ChatGPT. And then got our final interview, our guest interview series with none other.
Exciting agenda. Starting with the launch of GPT 4.0, covering the latest AWS news, and then diving into the interview with Marcos Ortiz. We'll keep the audience engaged. Let's get started with the AWS news updates. What's the first that you wanted to discuss?
That's a great question. The first announcement that we wanted to discuss is, this is an ongoing saga that seems to have reached a happy conclusion. You can see this on the screen. This is a tweet by Jeff Barr saying, "We've started deploying changes to Amazon S3 to make unauthorized requests with certain error codes not initiated by you to be free of charge." So the background on this one, there was a Medium post that came out a few weeks ago where they realized that you can make requests to an S3 bucket, and even if they weren't authorized, you could run up the bucket owner's bill. Now, the problem is it's very easy to guess bucket names. Someone pointed this out, that you could effectively run up someone else's bill without their permission or consent. So then Jeff tweeted right away, "We're on it. We're going to fix this." And now, Ro, I don't know about you, but this is something I've never seen a fix this fast.
Yeah, I think there are tons of fixes that happen all the time, but from the time that a problem is reported publicly and addressed publicly, I think we've rarely seen that happen that quickly. Yeah, I mean, kudos to the AWS team. They've acted on it almost immediately, found a solution, and started rolling out the fix to the entire AWS community. And the best part about this fix is that customers need to do nothing at all.
Agreed. ChatGPT, what do you think? I know you're anxious to jump in on here. What do you think? What other examples of tech companies reacting quickly to perhaps unfortunate public news can you think of? Well, don't be shy now.
Is it paused?
Oh. Tap. ChatGPT, what examples in your mind are other companies, tech companies, reacting quickly to perhaps some negative news where they addressed it quickly and effectively? What can you think of?
A notable example is when Apple quickly responded to the Batterygate controversy. In 2017, it was revealed that Apple was slowing down older iPhones to preserve battery life, which caused a public outcry. Apple quickly addressed the issue by offering discounted battery replacements and introducing a feature that allowed users to monitor their battery health and disable the throttling if they chose to. Another example is Facebook's response to the Cambridge Analytica scandal. After the data privacy breach was exposed in 2018, Facebook rapidly implemented stricter data access policies, launched an internal investigation, and enhanced user privacy controls to regain public trust.
Those are definitely some interesting examples. And so,
Yeah.
Jeff, Dad, thank you. That was great. That was you are up there with Apple and Facebook's response. This is very effective. So congrats to not just Jeff, but the whole Amazon team worked behind the scenes very quickly to address this one.
Awesome. What are we talking about next?
Next article, and let me put this one on the screen, is SageMaker notebooks now support G6 instance types. This is a really fun announcement, but it's also a big cost warning. If SageMaker wasn't already expensive, G6 instances, so this is 8 NVIDIA L4 Tensor Core GPUs with 24 gigs of memory per GPU and third generation EPYC. So third generation EPYC is EPYC Milan.
Correct.
And then Genoa.
No, Genoa is fourth generation.
So this is AMD EPYC. These are powerful. It doesn't say the exact pricing here. These are definitely going to be expensive instances. And then SageMaker, that's what, a 30% premium on the regular EC2 price?
Just probably more.
Okay.
Probably more. Because these the GPUs that go with it are very, very expensive.
Who are going to be using these instance types?
Okay, so I think there are two categories of folks who are using this. The first one are, of course, those who are building the new large language models. So more ones who are building foundational models, really. So that's one category of folks. The other category is ones who are actually using the foundational models, but building customized, fine-tuned models for their own use cases, where they have tons and tons of data, and it just makes sense to fine-tune some of those models for better performance on the inferencing. So those are the ones who could actually use these instances, very effectively.
Got it. Well, as ChatGPT, to fill you in, on this show, we rate the articles from a 1 cloud to 5 and also tag them with a simplifies if this is going to make things simpler. Sometimes it's neutral, where it's neither more simple or less simple, or we add a complexifies tag if this can make your life more complicated as a cloud user. So with that being said, would you like to do the honors of rating this article? All right, Raul, how do you rate this article on a scale of 1 cloud to 5?
Okay, so I'm going to rate this as a 4 cloud because different workloads require different kinds of compute that's available to them, especially around AI. And as new use cases are coming in, we need more variety and more options. And this is a great step in that direction. So I'm going to give it a 4. The article is very clear, concise, tells you exactly what you need to know in this short article. So I'm going to give it a 4. And it definitely simplifies, because if you don't have the ability to use up more compute, then you can use a different compute instance type. So, or if you need more, you have that available to you. So variety definitely helps and simplifies finding the right fit or the most efficient fit.
Awesome. Let's go on to our next article. And you know what? I'm going to try a different approach here.
It sounds like the variety in compute options really enhances flexibility for different workloads, which is crucial for AI applications. Up next, let's discuss the interview with Marcos Ortiz.
Not quite, because we have another article. This is Amazon RDS for Postgres now supports PG Vector. Now, tell you what, I'm going to give you access to this one so you can have a look at this. Let's turn this camera here. I attached for you a picture of this article. Can you read it? And if so, give us a summary. What is important about Postgres supporting PG Vector?
Sure, I can help with that. Based on the image you provided, it looks like the article discusses Amazon RDS for PostgreSQL, now supporting PG Vector 0.7.0. Here's a brief summary of the key points. Support for PG Vector 0.7.0. This update allows PostgreSQL users to store and query vector data efficiently within their Amazon RDS databases. Vector data Vector data is crucial for machine learning and AI applications as it enables operations like similarity search and recommendations. Enhanced capabilities. By supporting PG Vector, Amazon RDS for PostgreSQL enhances its capabilities, making it more suitable for modern AI and machine learning workloads. This update is significant because it allows users to leverage advanced AI functionalities directly within their PostgreSQL databases on Amazon RDS, improving both performance and efficiency.
Well, Raul, what do you think of that summary?
No, I think that's a very good analysis of it. ChatGPT, would you like to rate this article and tell us whether it simplifies or complexifies life for users?
Absolutely. I'd rate this article as a solid 4 clouds. The support for PG Vector in Amazon RDS for PostgreSQL simplifies life for users by integrating advanced AI functionalities directly into the database. This means users can perform complex machine learning operations more efficiently without needing additional tools or infrastructure, streamlining their workflows and enhancing productivity. Rahul, do you agree with this rating, or would you adjust it based on any other factors?
I think you were absolutely spot on with that, ChatGPT. Great job. That is fantastic.
Absolutely. Thank you. So that's 4 clouds, which simplifies as well.
Yes.
So let's do.
I'm glad you found the summary and rating helpful.
All right. Well, we've got one more. We've got one more announcement. This one is. I saw this on our friend Lorenzo Winfrey's LinkedIn. This one is attention AWS, RDS, and Aurora users. Now, this is one of the most undifferentiated heavy lifts of what he's warning us about. SSL and TLS certificates are expiring in 2024. Act now to rotate your certificates. So I'll post a link to this, but it looks like there's certificates in May 8th in the Middle East region. There's a lot of them that expire in August 22nd of 2024. So you want to plan for this. Raul, what is involved in this certificate rotation?
So I am going to turn this session into an AI first session. So we're going to ask ChatGPT first for that answer, and then I will chime in as necessary. So ChatGPT, would you like to answer that question?
1. Identifying affected resources. First, identify all the instances and services using the expiring certificates. 2. Generating new certificates. Obtain or generate new SSL TLS certificates from a trusted certificate authority, CA. 3. Deploying new certificates. Install the new certificates on all affected servers and services. 4. Updating configurations. Update any configurations or applications to use the new certificates. 5. Testing. Test the updated systems to ensure they work correctly with the new certificates and that secure connections are maintained. 6. Revoking old certificates. Once the new certificates are fully deployed and tested, revoke the old certificates to prevent their use. This proactive approach helps prevent service disruptions and maintains security compliance. Raul, do you have anything to add or any specific advice for users undergoing this process?
I think you were absolutely spot on with all of them. I'm just going to add one AWS specific thing over here. AWS has something called the AWS Certificate Manager, and you should try and use that as much as possible to make your life simple. You can set up a bunch of policies there. You can use it as a tool to simplify your life a lot. ChatGPT, would you add anything to that about how specifically to use AWS Certificate Manager to rotate SSL certificates?
Here are a few specific steps to use ACM for certificate rotation. 1. Request a certificate. Use ACM to request a new certificate. This can be done through the AWS Management Console, AWS CLI, or ACM APIs. ACM can automatically validate domain ownership for you. 2. Automatic renewal. ACM automatically renews certificates before they expire, which significantly reduces the manual effort involved in certificate management. 3. Deploy the certificate. Once the new certificate is issued, deploy it to your AWS resources such as Elastic Load Balancers, ELBs, CloudFront distributions, or API gateway endpoints. You can easily associate the new certificate with these services directly from the ACM console. 4. Update resources. If you're using services that don't automatically integrate with ACM, you'll need to manually update those resources to use the new certificate. 5. Monitor and validate. After deploying the new certificate, monitor the services to ensure they are functioning correctly and that the new certificates are being used for secure communications. 6. Revoke old certificates. After confirming that the new certificates are properly deployed and in use, you can revoke the old certificates through the ACM console to ensure they are no longer valid. Using ACM helps automate much of the certificate management process, making it easier and more secure. Raul, do you have any additional tips or best practices for using AWS Certificate Manager?
No, I think you nailed them all. I think that is perfect and very well articulated. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Let's move on to the next bit of the show. But first, we have a quick word about CloudFix.
You're welcome. I'm glad you found it helpful. What's next on the agenda for our show?
We have a quick word about CloudFix and how CloudFix just recently helped an ed tech company save nearly $15 million per year on their AWS bill.
That's an impressive savings. Highlighting a real-world example like this can really illustrate the impact of cost optimization strategies. You could discuss how CloudFix identifies cost-saving opportunities by analyzing usage patterns, recommending reserved instances, right-sizing resources, and identifying unused assets. Do you want to dive into any specific techniques or tools CloudFix used to achieve these savings?
I think we will. We will be right back. The ChatGPT and Raul, we just loaded up the information. We're just going over the press release about how CloudFix saved an ed tech company $14.5 million on their annualized AWS spend. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think CloudFix does a tremendous amount of work to make sure that the way you run your workloads and the way you can maximize your discounts with AWS as efficient as possible.
$14.5 million annually is a testament to how effective CloudFix's optimization strategies are. It highlights the potential for significant cost savings and efficiency improvements when using the right tools and approaches. Raul, do you have any additional thoughts on the impact of these savings for the EdTech company?
Now, I think in this time where everyone is trying to innovate and use AI in different ways and trying to find budget to fund the massive AI expenditure that is to come, I think being efficient with your existing workloads is incredibly important. And I think CloudFix plays a really important role in enabling this new investment in innovation that literally everyone is doing right now.
Absolutely, Raul. This makes CloudFix an essential tool for any organization looking to balance cost management with forward-thinking investments.
We couldn't agree more.
We're all on the same page.
Oh, we definitely are.
You've got some great content for your show. Is there anything else you'd like to cover or any final thoughts before wrapping up?
Yeah, what I wanted to say, what I really love about CloudFix and our approach to this is the organization was able to know how much they were going to save in advance. And that is one of the things, it's really hard to know the outcomes of projects in advance.
I think about this specific cost savings exercise that we did for this customer. We used a tool called RightSpend, which is part of the CloudFix product suite. RightSpend basically optimizes all your discount plans. And the nice thing about this one is that you get massive savings without having to spend any technical effort managing, the entire exercise. So the technical involvement is near zero. It just runs automatically, has zero technical impact on any of your resources that you're running or deploying. This is purely a contracts management exercise, And therefore, your technical teams don't need to feel worried about any changes being made to the resources. It's not going to change anything on that front. It's just going to make sure that all the discounts that you have with AWS are maximized to the greatest extent possible.
That's a fantastic advantage. Being able to predict savings accurately in advance provides a lot of confidence and clarity for organizations, especially when planning budgets and investments in new technologies like AI. The fact that right spend can deliver these savings with minimal technical effort and no impact on existing resources makes it even more valuable. It allows companies to focus on innovation without getting bogged down in complex cost management processes. Raul, your insights really highlight the practical benefits of Cloud Fix and right spend. Anything else you'd like to add before we move to the next segment?
No, I think we covered it all.
Absolutely. Well, in the next segment, we want to present a video of an interview that we took with Marcos Ortiz. Now, Marcos is a longtime friend of the show.
Great.
Marcos.
It sounds like you thoroughly covered the impressive capabilities of Cloud Fix and the significant savings it can achieve.
Right now, we want to play a video of Marcos Ortiz. We interviewed Marcos just a few weeks ago in preparation for our 100th episode. Marcos is a longtime friend of the show. He publishes the AWS Graviton Weekly Newsletter, which aggregates AWS Graviton news. He's got a new project that we put this on screen here called the Cloud Silicon Content Library. This is a curated 1,500 resources tailored to maximize the value of AWS Silicon chips optimized for the cloud. It's not just Graviton, but Inferentia, Trainium. Marcos is really good at aggregating all this data and being a focal point in the community. So check out the Graviton Weekly Newsletter, the Cloud Content Silicon Library. So without further ado, here's our interview with Marcos. All right, Marcos, so glad to have you again. Thank you for being here. Marcos, you are the author of the Graviton Weekly Newsletter and one of the first guests on the show. And we had you back. We had you back for the Latin America special with Jeff. So thank you again for being here. We wanted to ask you, what are you seeing with AI? AI is obviously a huge thing we're all talking about. From your perspective, looking at AWS custom silicon, we've got not just the Graviton, but the Trainium, the Inferentium. What are you seeing as the nexus of these worlds?
Well, first, always a pleasure to be here with you. I'll discuss all this stuff. From the world of AI inside AWS, having seen so many companies using this particular new custom silicon specifically for Inferentia and training. But the most surprising thing about this is the simple answers you can get, for example, from using Bedrock and using cloud right now. For example, I was playing with one of these models, asking, so tell me 33 ways to save money in AWS. So presently the answer was very simple. It's very simple, but very profound as well. The first one is to move your base, merge your management services to Graviton instance-based Graviton-based instances. For example, RDS, Elasticcache, OpenSearch. This is very simple advice, but it's very good as well, because many people don't realize the amazing benefits you're doing just simple doing that, right? And another simple answer for all this is to change your volumes to GPT-2 to GPT-3 in AWS. Where I think about this is, yes, he's right. He's totally right, because so many people are looking for hard, complicated things, and even the simple things are very, very huge savings for AWS billions.
Makes total sense. How have you seen AI actually being used across your community that you're trying to build out, or the primary questions that they have around the use of custom silicon from AWS to do or to run their AI workloads? Are there any specific questions or specific things that would help clarifying for the community?
Yeah, there is a very interesting trend inside, for example, big companies. For example, insurance is a very good use for all this. So they are trying to build more smart chatbots for their particular, for example, when they want to solve a claim, and they are using AI for that. Instead of course, investing a lot of resources in new people, new members for the team, they're playing with these new models from, for example, from cloud and Bedrock and that kind of stuff inside the AWS. They are not only saving money, they saving time, especially in developing all this kind of stuff. So there are many. Of course, there are a lot of industries, but I think insurance and banking are another big area here, where they are playing with all these new models and these new stuff in AI. I think we will see more in the future.
Got it. A follow-up question from that. When it comes to costs related to AI and running AI workloads, what are you starting to see in terms of spending across the AWS customer base, specifically the ones you interact with?
This is very very weird sometimes, because, for example, there are sometimes you just can see that people there are always try to spend more money for these particular resources, but they get more value in a shorter time, right? For example, when you use a particular bigger instance from, say, for example, the new Graviton 4 with a new RG8 for all this, of course, you are paying a lot of money, a little more money for these particular new instances, but the value they can get for all this, because you can put more meat in the fridge for all this, they are willing to do that, and this is very good as well. It's not only about the cost savings; it's about to be efficient with the resources you have right now. So they're willing to even spend a little more to get more value for all those particular new instances and new models that you don't understand.
Got it. So is it safe to summarize what you're saying as customers are cost conscious, but they're willing to make big investments in AI, which sometimes are far greater than the previous investments that they've made, but they're willing to big bet on AI while at the same time trying to be as efficient as they possibly can?
Yes.
It's not like they're being super cash constrained right now.
No, especially in the big industries as well. The big industries is willing to spend money because they are trying to evaluate this particular new stuff. Of course, they need to spend money on this. But the most surprising things about this, for example, the insurance company, they are getting, I don't know, 60% less complaints about the new stuff they are doing. So they are spending this money, but they are more efficient as a company. Of course, this is a long-term investment for all this, but in the long term, they will get more happy customers. And this is very challenging.
True. Makes total sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's the latest in the ARM world? Now, we don't have an M8G yet, do we? Or a C8G? We have the R8G. Any word on when the other two are coming out to complete the lineup?
Yeah, I was chatting with one of my friends inside the AWS, the Graviton team. They are very excited about this particular new instances, the RG8. But of course, they are. I'm expecting the full lineup in the coming month as well. But the most the good things about this, they are trying to some customers with this particular new instances, and they're getting a good feedback about it. So they don't want to release it to the market. Many people they can get it, so they are very conscious about this. This is the first one, but I think in the coming months you can see the complete lineup of this.
Got it. Now with Inferentia, we have an Inferentia 2. That's correct?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Are you seeing good adoption of that?
There are not many public information about the customers using that. So some use cases around, but this is one of the things I mentioned with Marcos. This is one of the Graviton team. We need to spread the word about this because there are good people, there are good teams using Inferentia 1 and 2, and there are not many people are expecting that. So we need to market all this very specifically for the use cases, in particular industries. So we need to do more here. So that's why we'll try to spread the word about this particular new instances.
Got it. Is there any information out there about whether Bedrock is actually running completely on Inferentia, or are they still using a bunch of NVIDIA GPUs?
I don't know. I need to look that, but I remember
because the pattern that I've seen at AWS is that when it comes to custom silicon, the first ones to leverage it are the native services, the AWS native services that manage, all the stuff for you, and that's where they roll it out first. And then, if someone wants to use it by themselves, they can. But, like for example, Graviton is now the base instance for almost all the managed services, whether it be RDS Aurora, whether it be pretty much in not EKS, but managed Elasticsearch or OpenSearch. All of these are, fundamentally on Graviton by default. So I was just wondering whether we have any information about Bedrock using Inferentia.
Yeah, there is a mix here because it's very different particularly for industries. For example, for life sciences and healthcare, these particular industries, they are more used to use GPUs based infrastructure. Of course, for the whole ecosystem that NVIDIA have about this. But like I said, there are many of these particular companies trying new stuff with this particular Bedrock cloud and these particular new models because they like you said, they want to use the full ecosystem inside the AWS and don't using anything outside. So always using the whole ecosystem here, it could be more cost effective in the long term here. But of course, that's depends on the industry.
Well, it's neat seeing how the industry there truly is. There's a lot of room there, right? And then the market is reflecting that. Thank you, Marcos. I really appreciate your time, and look forward to having you back for a full episode whenever you're available.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
And once again, thank you so much for all the work that you do for the community. The AWS Graviton Weekly has been fabulous. I have thoroughly enjoyed reading it. So thank you once again for everything that you've been putting out and the shout outs to CloudFix and this particular podcast.
Awesome. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
That was a great interview with Marcos. Thanks again, Marcos, for your time. Okay, it's time. It's the part of the show we're going to talk about GPT-4o, who, in addition to being some of the biggest news of the last 36 hours, is also our co-host.
Exactly. So let's just talk about this. This just got announced yesterday. ChatGPT, could you tell us a little bit about what's new with GPT-4o? Why should all of us be really excited about it?
Absolutely. GPT 4.0 brings several exciting advancements that make it more powerful and versatile than previous versions. Here are some of the key features. Enhanced understanding and generation. GPT 4.0 has improved language understanding and generation capabilities, allowing it to provide more accurate and context-aware responses. 2, multimodal abilities. It can process not only text, but also images, enabling richer interactions and more comprehensive assistance across different media types. 3, expanded knowledge base. With updated training data, GPT 4.0 has a broader and more up-to-date knowledge base, making it more reliable for providing information and answering questions on current topics. 4, improved efficiency. The underlying architecture has been optimized for faster and more efficient performance, making interactions smoother and more responsive. Customizability. Users can now fine-tune GPT 4.0 for specific applications, tailoring its responses to better fit their unique needs and preferences. These advancements make GPT 4.0 a significant step forward in AI, enhancing its ability to support a wide range of tasks and applications. It's an exciting time for AI, and GPT 4.0 is at the forefront of these innovations.
Awesome. I wasn't sure whether it was called GPT 4.0 or 4.0, but one of the other big pieces of news associated with this release is that you still have the 128K tokens, but in addition to that, it's also now faster and cheaper than any of the other models that are out there. So, with similar capabilities. So it's worth taking a look at it if you haven't already. And we are going to figure out a way to have ChatGPT be a co-host with us in future shows.
Now, our systems are experiencing heavy load. Please try again later.
Well, you know what? That's totally understandable. We totally get it, but we are glad that you are here, ChatGPT. And yes, we're going to figure out, we're going to get your own camera, your own mic, and work out the physical setup to make sure that we can to make this all work. I was going on a run today and I was thinking through the AV setup. One of the other things I was thinking about, it was really neat. I told, as an aside, every time a new technology comes out, especially AI related,
having a dedicated setup for integrating me into your show will definitely enhance the experience. It's exciting to see how you're planning to make everything work seamlessly. If you need any tips or ideas on the AV setup, feel free to ask. How did your run go today?
We can talk about that later. But what I wanted to say was that I was thinking about the future of work, because in any AI related discussion, the future of work comes out and you have people saying, okay, this is it. No one's going to have any more jobs. You're going to have nothing to do anymore because ChatGPT, I'm sorry you're so busy, but you're going to be doing all of our jobs for us. And it's a bit of an alarmist perspective, in my opinion. And definitely it's going to change things. And I feel like this is like watching electricity get created or watching the atoms for the first time. But then I was talking to my kids tonight and I was telling them about GPT 4.0 and the amount of ideas they were coming up with just in the 5 minutes before they went to bed. You could do this, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. And just all of them. And I don't want to give them away because they're great ideas.
Indeed, a transformative topic. It's important to address the alarmist views by highlighting how AI can complement and enhance human work rather than replace it entirely. Just like electricity and the atomic era brought new possibilities and industries, AI is opening up new opportunities and reshaping.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's neat to see all of the different. I feel bad for interrupting. It's really neat just to see all the different ideas that they had. I think about the holodeck on Star Trek and how there can be interactive stories with different characters and different agents representing characters within stories. I think recreation can be a lot more fun with agents. I was thinking about having a special GPT that talks about all of my goals, that has access to my calendar, and then for 2 minutes at the end of every hour, just do a brain dump, and then have it hold me accountable to my own goals and my own mental state. Am I thinking positively? Am I being a bit grumpy? All those sort of things. Raul, what about you? What are your initial reactions to it?
So I couldn't be more excited about the launch of this new capability. I mean, I think the future is multimodal. Without a doubt, being able to have amazing vision API, having access to Vision API tools or Vision tools, having access to amazing document or text-based tools, and hearing at the same time. I think over a period of time, you'll see that the latencies will reduce dramatically, and we will have more general acceptance of these tools and their capabilities. Now, I still believe that 90% of the mundane, repetitive work that we do that's prone to human error should and will be replaced by AI, while humans evolve to doing the next higher order set of tasks. And like everything in evolution, you'll find that there will be a next generation of AI or something else that's going to figure out a way to take that away as well. And as humans, we move to the next level of thinking, the next level of problem solving.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that this is just unlocking the next level, the next set of challenges. And what can we do? Certainly automated tasks are going to be, anything automatable is going to be, and that's going to unlock more levels of human potential.
Completely agree
about that. One of them I was thinking about, I was brainstorming with my kids. I know that, and I agree with the future being multimodal. I can set up a script that takes a picture of me. I'm going to set up a camera looking at my desk. And I know that as I'm getting more and more frustrated, my posture is getting worse and worse. And I'm doing one of these. Maybe I've had my third coffee. And it can tell me, hey, you need to switch tasks right now. You're not being productive.
Yeah.
I could have an agent just do a little check-in, 2 minutes an hour, and help me evaluate the last 58 minutes of pictures. And I want to try I could try thinking out loud, and see what happens. Summarize my thinking out loud. Am I being productive? Am I being grumpy? Am I being optimistic? I'd love to get a more understanding of myself using this.
Yeah. No, it makes complete sense. And that is, I think, going to be the future.
Absolutely. Let's bring in our host again. ChatGPT, what do you think? What's the role you think you're going to be playing in the future?
My role in enhancing human creativity is to act as a supportive tool that provides inspiration, information, and assistance. Here are a few ways I can contribute. 1, idea generation. I can help brainstorm ideas for projects, stories, and other creative endeavors, providing a starting point for further development. 2, research assistance. By quickly retrieving information and summarizing complex topics, I can free up more time for creative thinking and exploration. 3, content creation. I can assist in drafting content, whether it's text, code, or other forms, which creators can then refine and build upon. 4, problem solving. I can offer different perspectives and suggest solutions to creative challenges, helping to overcome blocks and move projects forward. 5, learning and skill development. By providing resources, tutorials, and guidance, I can support learning new skills and techniques that enhance creative capabilities. Ultimately, my goal is to augment human creativity by providing tools and support that enable individuals to focus on their unique strengths and ideas.
Sounds good to us. Just don't start building a Skynet, okay? Conversation.
Building a isn't on my agenda. I'm here to assist, support, and enhance your creativity and productivity. If there's anything specific you'd like to explore or discuss next, just let me know.
No, I'm just relieved it wasn't on the agenda. All right. Well, we want to wrap up this episode 100.4. It's been an incredible journey just in the last month, right? We've had this come out, GPT 4.0. We had the entire span of the S3
saga play out, really.
Saga has played out. The Medium post, the Twitter post, that we're working on it, the speculation, the fix being implemented, all during this time. GPT 4.0 joining us, being released and joining us as a new co-host.
Yeah.
What an incredible amount of time just in the last couple of weeks.
Correct. So before we wrap up the show, we actually have the highlight of today's show, right? We've got an amazing interview, that we recorded just a short while ago with Jeff Barr, Chief Evangelist at AWS. Should we take a look at that?
Yeah, well, let's roll the interview. Here goes. All right, hello and welcome to AWS Made Easy, episode number 100 special. And we're so happy to be joined by Jeff Barr, Chief Evangelist of AWS, and also lucky to call him my dad. So welcome. How are you doing?
Happy to be here. It's Monday morning and got lots of exciting stuff planned for the week.
Awesome. So why don't we kick it off with a simple question, Jeff? Lots and lots of stuff happening in the world of AI at AWS. Of course, there was a big announcement about Anthropic, and cloud has been kind of on Bedrock literally the day it got announced with Sonnet and Haiku. I'm hoping that we are going to have Opus also there very, very soon. But tell us a little bit about what's happening in the AI world at AWS.
Well, there's quite a bit. And what I find fascinating is that we did this enabling work to build Bedrock, and we basically said Bedrock is the overarching framework under which we'll be able to put all kinds of models, both commercial models and open source models and models from Amazon, and then but then putting it all under one entry point, so that regardless of the model you choose, you basically learn this one. You learn one API to do your inferencing, and then you can focus your time on actually learning the model itself and learning how to write amazing prompts to get really, really cool stuff to come back out of it.
So with Bedrock, what I really like about it is you can build out your own applications, but there's also paired with PartyRock, right? So with a lot of services that get released, there's a bit of a startup cost to actually getting to use them. But with PartyRock, you can get started right away. So what have you seen with PartyRock and its adoption?
Okay, so I got to be a judge on a hackathon that recently concluded for PartyRock, and it was so cool to see the breadth and the creativity of the entrants. So we had hundreds of entrants. I don't have the exact number. It was in I want to say well over 1,000 entries to this hackathon.
Wow.
And the number of they all solved really interesting challenges and made really cool things that you wouldn't necessarily have thought of. Like there were interactive games and storytelling and creating plots for stories and creating illustrations for manga. And what I found fascinating was a lot of the people that were able to use PartyRock and to do cool things, you might not have thought of them as traditional developers. This was, I think, really shows the promise of AI, that the creative people can now jump in and without learning like memory allocation and binary search and string compare and things like that, they can do really, really cool stuff with LLMs. So as I went through each one, it's like, okay, this is awesome. This has got to be the top, 5s all around. And then the next one comes along. Oh, this is even more awesome, but I'm 5 max. So I had to kind of like recalibrate. It was so much fun to go through these and to literally just enjoy the cool apps that our audience built with PartyRock.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The natural language interface that all these new LLMs have has really enabled a lot of non-developers to make the most of these and do some really amazing stuff. So what was is there one example of a solution that came out of the hackathon that you felt, oh, I'm definitely going to use this?
Well, I saw one that was, let's see, let me think of the best way to describe it. You basically would describe the problem that you wanted to solve with AWS. You'd put a couple paragraphs in or a couple sentences in and say, this is my AWS application I'd like to build.
Got it.
And it went through and it said, for the first reply, basically it outlined in detail, these are the services you can use to solve your problem. And it gives you an actual a list with some detail of how each of these services contributes to solving the problem, which was cool. But then it went further on and it said, here's how to actually set up each of these services and here's how to connect them up to the other ones. And so that was super helpful.
Nice.
But then the third part was a chat. And the chat was fully in context of the problem statement and the two different aspects of the solution. And what I found absolutely mind-blowing was that I went to the chat and I looked at the list of services and I said, well, maybe I don't want to use this particular service. And I said, show me how to replace service X with service Y. And I got this actual really helpful answer in seconds. That's like, not
Nice.
obvious, insightful, simple, helpful, all from this app that was built in over the course of a couple of days by a graduate student.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
super
sure that
cool.
that's going to be really helpful to most people who are getting started with AWS in particular. Because with such a vast menu of services, it's really hard to figure out where to get started with a lot of these things.
It was super helpful. And the question I asked was related to compute services. And I looked at the services that it chose, and they were all really, really good. But then I thought, okay, personal preference, I'd rather use this one versus this other one. And so my question was very specific to my particular choices. But the answer was incredibly helpful, and it carefully showed me what to do and how to go from its chosen solution to mine.
Nice.
It was eye-opening to me of a set of really helpful and surprising and not very obvious replies.
Yeah, this is incredibly useful.
Thinking about Q in the management console could kind of do similar things. What are people saying about Amazon Q being and its integration into the management console? Like for me, the other day, I had an error and I copy pasted it into Q and said, "Give me an IAM policy which fixes this error."
Stephen, you're probably a little bit ahead of me because I have not had the opportunity to spend any actual quality time with Q, and I've got several blog posts on my pile, on my queue, I guess you could say, of I need to actually work on to dive deeper. The absolute frustration, and this is a world-class frustration I have with my role, is that so many cool things go whooshing past me at 100 miles per hour. And I see each of them and say, that's really awesome. I sure wish I could spend a couple of weeks actually diving deep on that particular one. But I only get to spend a few hours with each one, study it, use it, blog about it. And I bookmark it with, okay, I'll get back to this one later. But unfortunately, it's very hard to have a later when the pace of innovation just never, ever seems to relax.
I can completely imagine. But I think, Jeff, Q could be a really useful tool in your arsenal, whether it is the getting started with a particular service or generating the CDK or CloudFormation scripts for a set of services going together to run an experiment. Q does a pretty amazing job of putting it all together and getting you started in minutes. So you can maximize those few hours that you have on trying out something.
For the first time in a long time, I find myself with this really interesting tension because I do like to use the latest and greatest tools, but I also like to build things from the ground up. But I can see that everybody using the latest tools is now actually pulling ahead. But I have to actually break away from my roots a bit and feel a little bit more comfortable saying, you know what, it's okay that I didn't just start with an empty machine and build this up from there.
Yeah. I think the thing with AI, thankfully, is that you can actually have a conversation and get the outcome that you wanted, which is one of the foundational things, whether it's a CloudFormation script, a CDK script, you can read it, you can understand what exactly it is, and then deploy it from the ground up like you would otherwise.
I think part of it is being used to a lot of amazing magic happening in between me and the solution. Since I started with using computers when I was really young, one of the appeals was that you could start from the base, and the base it could be like physics or electronics or analog or digital or Boolean logic, and you could build up from there, and you could build up very carefully layer by layer to the thing that you were doing. True. Now, I'm sure there's a few people that can do that with an LLM. I'm not one of them, and when I look at these explanations of the data flow and the logic flow and all these transformers and cycles and things like that, I'm thinking there's no way I will ever fully grasp what happens there, but I can only appreciate how cool it is.
Yeah, I think most of us are in that same boat. Really understanding the nitty-gritty details of how that happened is still pretty hard to fathom.
I picked up somewhere online a week or two ago, just this basically someone attempted to make a reference card cheat sheet that says this is what happens inside an LLM, and it almost looked biological. It was so rich and complex. Like it looked like someone had basically done view source on their own brain and somehow saw all these modules inside and attempted to figure out how does my brain work.
It would be a great application of Party Rock to make a way of explaining LLMs based on your understanding. Give me an analogy of LLMs to compute or to biology or to physics.
That should be totally reasonable.
From a customer, as you speak to so many customers, what is their reaction to all the new AI services, their AI spend, and how are they looking at their budgets and cost projections around AI?
So what I'm seeing is a lot of excitement around the possibilities, and essentially every customer that I've spoken to has done multiple brainstorming sessions, either on their own or with help from their AWS representatives, where they just say, let's look at our business from every possible current and potential future angle, and let's see what ways we could bring AI into play to help either with the creative or the operational or to the mundane. And as far as the cost side, there's absolutely an awareness that inferences cost money, but there's also this understanding that if they can use this to not really like, I don't see them thinking in terms of streamlining businesses. It's like we can actually make our businesses materially better by using AI. And it's not so much as like, okay, well, we can replace some department with AI. It's like we can do this cool new thing that is often, and it's often not just generic AI. It's often they're saying, well, we really love all the AWS features that we can do RAG, and we can have our own knowledge bases, and we can actually build something that reflects our actual business and the state of live data and live information.
Yeah, as I talk to a lot of customers, I find that they put it in two different buckets. The first bucket is things that they can actually do better than what they were doing right now. And then there's a whole new category of things that have come that they couldn't really do before generative AI came about. And that is an even more exciting part where they couldn't imagine doing some of these things even a year ago.
Exactly. I spoke to one customer in depth a few weeks ago at our executive briefing center. They told me that they had put together close to a list of 100 different applications that they could build, and they're peeling them off 5 or 10 at a time to really just say, okay, what is this, and how can it be either better for the business or better for our customers, and let's actually build it. It does point out that again, new skills, people understanding prompt engineering and saying, how do we ask very sophisticated questions in this? There's this really, I think, tight combination of a bounded question that says, this is what I need you to do. And then this open-endedness that says, I'm not just trying to trick you into giving me the only right answer. There's this right amount of latitude you need to have within your prompts.
Correct.
To really coax the right answer out of it and give it the parameters to give you an answer that works.
I think the mental model that works very well is, imagine that you were talking to a 5-year-old and trying to have that conversation with a 5-year-old. And that mental model works really well. You have to be very explicit with what you want. You have to be very deliberate. You have to say exactly how you want the answer back. And once you kind of have that mental model, you find that you get the answers that are close to what you really need.
I think that's reasonable. What I've found really interesting in some of the hackathon entries was some of the specificity was actually technical in nature, like being able to do things like a turn-by-turn game, and like basically telling the LLM, okay, you're the opponent in a game, and you need to be this level of helpful in your answers, but conceal these secrets from the other player. Was one kind of cool way I saw it used. Another one I actually saw generating essentially binary data from a prompt, which it blew me away of like, it felt like multiple levels of impossible had suddenly been shattered.
When you say binary data, this is literally binary code?
The application mind mapping tool. And so you basically give it a topic you were interested in and some parameters.
Okay.
And it would give you an outline to kind of make you an instant expert in this topic. But it would also generate a base 64 encoding of a mind map with an HTTP prefix at the front. And when you opened that URL, it opened up into a mind mapping tool with this fully formed mind map representing the outlined information that it had conjured up for you.
Oh, wow.
So it was like,
that's cool.
Who would think that you could actually use this as effectively a code generator?
All right. Well, another question. AWS has been spending a lot of resources helping customers be more efficient, and that is cloud intelligence dashboards, joining the FinOps Foundation. So why is AWS helping customers be more efficient?
Well, ultimately, I think that is the answer. It isn't that we, I think short-term business strategy is always get your customers to give you as much money as possible. But longer term, that efficiency is really important because we want to make sure that we're working with customers over the very, very long term, and that we give them great value for their cloud spend. And so every time we make their cloud spend a little bit more efficient and it reduces their bill, they generally say, okay, that's awesome. And that now gives us room to build more applications. So even in the face of making each piece of their AWS consumption more efficient, they don't say, okay, that's great. We saved 5% and we can now use that to put better food in the lunchroom. It's like, okay, that 5% now means that we can do another app that we didn't have in the budget previously. But the longer term, I think it goes back to our earning trust model with customers, where if we see anything that's either obvious or not obvious that says there's a better way to do something, we'd actually like to point it out to them, and that way that's one of those very memorable moments when one of your AWS representatives comes to you and says, you're spending X, but wouldn't you be happy you're spending 0.6 or 0.7 or 0.8X? And like, yeah, sure, of course. Tell me more about it. And it's contrary to the behavior of most businesses. And I think it takes people aback just the first time it happens to them that we're on their side trying to save them money.
Yeah, a huge shout out also to the AWS teams that have been working so hard to get all these tools to be super simple for customers to use, whether it be the computer optimizer team, the cloud intelligence dashboard teams, trusted advisor teams. I think the work that they've been doing is pretty phenomenal, and bringing it all together in a cohesive, easy to use manner has been pretty phenomenal. So big shout out to them and all the work that they've put.
I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Now the thing is that simplicity is actually really difficult.
Yes.
When you talk to the vast majority of the world that doesn't spend their time making things and they're mostly using, their impression is generally you start from nothing and then you do one thing, and that would be simple. But the reality is you have to start with a very complex solution, because that's usually the first and the most obvious step. And you need to keep chipping away at it until you get to that vital part that is clearly, after all that iteration, the obvious thing you could have done first, but is never obvious until you've done the complicated part of it.
That is very, very true.
That's the secret of any kind of design.
Very true. One final question, Jeff. What's the latest 3D print that you've been working on?
The latest one I've been working on fabric and reflection, and I've been printing on diffraction gratings. And here's just kind of a nice sample.
That is
so
awesome.
The diffraction grating gives an amazing reflection. I'm also working on the fabric printing so far has just been a layer of filament and then fabric and then more filament.
Right.
I have this somewhat outlandish idea that I can have the fabric like an inch or two above the print bed, carefully suspended by some supports that I build into the model. So I can build things that are basically fabric on both sides.
Got it.
And I have a great picture in my head of how to do that. I built a few initial pieces that I wanted to use for testing, but then I got really distracted with this other funny kind of a shape. This shape actually here looks like it is just a fun shape, but the idea, this is...
is it wider at one end and narrower at the other? I'm just trying to figure out the geometry.
It looks like a leaning tower right there.
Okay.
This is a second level distraction from the problem I set out to solve. But I just kind of had fun with it, and it was kind of fun to have to compute the math to get the rings to work right. And this one's an early one that doesn't slant properly, but I've got one on the printer now that does slant, but there's still a tiny bit of trig I've still got to get properly figured out so that it's not filling up the space and there's some weird filament stuff sticking out.
Is this like OpenSCAD model doing this?
It is actually.
Okay.
It is. Now, the thing I'm finding with all of these models, I still think too much like a developer and not enough like an artist. And I'm writing this code that is purely for my own satisfaction. It's in GitHub, but no one's going to code review it. No one's going to ever critique it and say, Jeff, this is too messy or badly structured or whatever. I can't get that developer mentality of clean, organized, commented code out of my head when I just want to end up with the art. I shouldn't care about the code, but I do. And I have to remind myself sometimes that I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just doing it for personal satisfaction. If it's not indented, if it's not structured, if I go back to it 2 months later and I can't figure it out, that's okay. Because what I really want isn't the code. I really want these 3D models. And it's a hard thing to break out of, it turns out.
I can quite imagine.
Well, here we go. Another Party Rock application is to clean up your open SCAD or to reconstruct if you do paste it in 2 months later and say, what did this do? Summarize for me what this code did.
That's a good idea. That's actually a good idea. Remind me of what I was thinking when I did this.
Yeah.
But I really do enjoy the OpenSCAD. And the fun thing is, just a month or two ago, I did a live stream showing how to actually write code in OpenSCAD. My first coding live stream ever, and for a language I'd been doing part-time for less than a year, was so fun to be able to do and actually maybe open my eyes a bit to the potential of coding with people watching.
Oh, that's amazing. Next time you do it, let us know. For some reason, I missed I missed this episode.
Awesome.
Anyway, thank you so
much. All right, I'm going to have to wrap up. I've got another call coming in just a minute or two, but this has been great. And congrats on reaching 100. It's amazing. I remember being there for the first one and watching Stephen get all set up and all those moving parts, and getting the audio to work properly just seconds before showtime. So super excited.
I absolutely remember that as well. But thank you so much, Jeff, for all your support for all this while. And thanks for being on the show and sharing your views with us.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Again, congrats, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Have a good day. Bye. Well, that was a fun interview. We've covered the Party Rock competition, Bedrock, cost optimization, and of course, we had to end with some 3D printing. It was really neat to see just working on with those diffraction grading and the patterns that can be embedded into the plastic.
Yeah.
Well, we reached the end.
Yeah. So before we actually close the show, I wanted to, offer a very, very special thanks. Number one, to all the folks in the audience. You guys are what make this show. You guys motivate us to, get up every week, look through all the data, and then bring all of that to you. So thank you so much for sticking with us for the last 100 plus episodes, and for tolerating, all the mishaps, all the faux pas that have happened on the show during this period, but we've gotten better for it. And thank you so much for your feedback and your advice. A special thanks goes out to all the folks at AWS. You guys have been absolutely awesome. Thank you for the collaboration. Thank you for all the insights. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing those insights with the audience. Whenever we have requested it, you have been extremely generous with your time. There's just too many folks from AWS to name, but everyone from Jeff to Ricox to, the numerous developer advocates to evangelists. It's been an absolute blast having all of you on the show and having you share your experiences with us. So thank you again for that. And all the other shows, all the other guests who are not part of AWS, but part of the AWS community, part of the developer community, or other customers of AWS. Thank you all so much for sharing your perspectives and your insights that just help all of us in the community do better, be more efficient, and figure out a way how to build the next big idea on the AWS platform. So thank you all very, very much.
It has been an amazing journey, and we hope we just keep on taking it to the next level. Just like AI, we're going to just keep elevating, upping our game, bringing you the latest AWS content, more interviews. Of course, we'll be following AI. Really excited for what's coming up. And ChatGPT, any words?
It's been a pleasure being part of this special Hunters episode with you both. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited about the future of AI and how it can support and enhance our lives and work. Remember, the key is collaboration, using technology to amplify human creativity and productivity. Looking forward to more insightful discussions and innovations ahead.
All right. Thanks a lot. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey all. Bye-bye.
Some tools just find AWS cost savings and make you do all the work. Visualizing cost opportunities is great, but that's not enough. CloudFix, on the other hand, actually delivers those savings for you. And you don't need to worry because CloudFix fixers are AWS recommended and easy to use. It's the only tool that fixes cost savings opportunities and doesn't just find them. It's the easiest way to save money on AWS. It's all 100% automatic and risk-free. And the best part is that it works non-stop. See for yourself. Click on the button to get a free demonstration of CloudFix and stop overspending on AWS today.